Hello and welcome. My name is Goddess Fiore. If you're not familiar with me, I am a financial dominatrix. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about what exactly financial domination is. I get a lot of people coming onto my channel who aren't familiar with financial domination, especially my live streams and that type of thing. So I wanted to make a video just kind of explaining a little bit about it. So if you're not familiar with financial domination, it is a kink within BDSM. It is a dominant submissive relationship. That's the DNS and BDSM. And it's a kink in which the submissive has a kink for sending money to a dominant. So the act of sending money excites them. And for the dominant, it is quite a thrill to control someone, especially financially. So this can take many different forms, many different levels, anywhere from just like a little coffee send, $10 or $25 a day, all the way up to what we call total power exchange, in which a dominant has full control over a submissive's bank account and or their paycheck, and then gives the submissive an allowance from that amount. So it can be anywhere in between, depending on the dynamic and the relationship that the dominant and the submissive have. So findom, what we call financial domination, also called findom, is part of femdom, which is female domination. And that is obviously where a female is dominating a submissive. It can be a male or a female submissive, but in society, we generally see men in dominant roles. So for a lot of men, it can be really appealing because it's very taboo and unusual to have a female dominate them and control them. Now, there are many different kinks and fetishes within financial domination. We'll get into just a few in this video. Now, when I first heard of financial domination, it was explained to me as more of a total power exchange where a dominant is basically managing all of a submissive's money. And that's not usually how it's done. But that can be one form of it. It's kind of a more extreme form. And when I first heard about it, I said, there's no way that this is real. There's no way that there's people that get excited by sending money, but it is. It is definitely a kink. It's mostly done online. And the way that it works is a submissive will usually approach a dominant, and they know right off the bat that they're expected to send. Usually a findom will have an initial tribute that she's expected to be paid before an initial conversation. So the submissive will pay the initial tribute, and then they'll have a conversation, or they'll proceed with like a drain or a session. And in a drain or session, you are essentially interacting with the submissive and demanding different amounts of money throughout the session or drain. And then usually a drain can last anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours to even a couple days. And then once the submissive is out of money, then the drain is kind of over. Now, there's many different kinks within financial domination. I'm not going to go into all of them into detail in this video. I have other videos that go over various kinks and fetishes, so definitely go check those out. But a big one within financial domination is the foot fetish. I have a whole video where I go over foot fetishes. There's many fetishes within the foot fetish, but that is a very common fetish that financial submissives have. And you'll see a lot of financial dominatrixes posting pictures of their feet. And this is why, because a lot of those submissives have that fetish. Other kinks and fetishes within financial domination include humiliation, is very common, not always, and there's varying degrees of how much submissives enjoy humiliation, but that's a general kink that is very popular within financial domination. And within humiliation, there's several kinks within that as well. So SPH is one, that is small, I'm going to say pencil humiliation. Hopefully you can figure that out. And there are lots of men who love to be humiliated for the size of their member, and they find it very arousing. And this may seem unusual to you if you don't have this kink or if you're a female, but this is a huge kink that some people have. Other kinks that are in financial domination, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Some of them I don't engage in because they can be kind of legally or ethically borderline. So you do have to be careful and know what is legal. You have to figure out what you're ethically willing to partake in, if that is something that you, if this is something that you're interested in. But blackmail is a big one, and home wrecking is a big one. And these are ones that I try to stay away from personally. Like I said, if you're trying to get into financial domination, you really got to know your legal and ethical bounds. I have, like I said, video courses where I go into details about what is legal, what's not, what's ethical for me personally, what I'm willing to do, what I'm not. Obviously, you have to decide that on your own. But financial domination can be a lot of fun. It is a lot of work. It's a lot more work than it looks like online. It looks very easy, like you're just getting paid to exist. You'll hear a lot of women saying that, but there's a lot more that goes into it than that. And, but it is very fun, especially if you are a dominant woman who enjoys controlling men. There are lots of men who enjoy being controlled. So that's basically what financial domination is. And the power dynamic can take place in many different forms. So financial domination is largely done online on various social media platforms. You'll be communicating with your submissive on there and just finding out what the submissive is into, and then kind of using their kinks and fetishes to engage and dominate them financially. Now, as I mentioned, financial domination is largely done online, but occasionally there are financial dominatrixes that will meet submissives in person. We do something called cash meets, where you'll usually meet at like an ATM or other public place, and the financial submissive will bring a previously agreed upon amount of cash and hand it over to the dominant. This is called a cash meet. And then there are other times where financial dominatrixes might do more pure dominatrix type kinks, like you'll see people posting videos of using submissives as human furniture, as footstools or chairs or tables, that type of thing, or engaging in various foot fetishes in person. But most of financial domination is done online. The other thing to keep in mind with financial domination, as opposed to other dominatrix type activities, is that there is nothing overtly, I would say overtly sexual. Your submissives generally don't want to see you with clothing off. They want their dom to stay clothed. They feel that they are too, that they're not worthy of seeing you without your clothing on. So as far as that goes, it's not so much about sex. There is obviously a sexual aspect in the fact that maybe your submissive finds you attractive, but not always. Sometimes it's more just the dynamic and how you're dominating them that they're more interested in. And it's less about the sexual aspect, and it's more about being dominated and controlling your submissive. And that's what the submissives really enjoy. And like I said before, just the act of sending money to someone more powerful than them is very exciting for them. So, and they also like to be seen, some of them, not everybody, but generally submissives like to be, that kind of stems from men feeling this kind of joy and excitement of being like a provider for a beautiful woman. So that's also kind of an aspect of it. There's a lot of dominatrixes who call themselves princesses or queens, and they're very much into being spoiled and not having to work, and having a submissive fund their whole entire lifestyle. So that's another part of financial domination, is the submissive feeling useful and valuable through the act of funding someone who they feel like is better than them, if that makes sense. So if you don't find this appealing, it may not make a whole lot of sense to you. If it does sound appealing to you and you haven't tried it before, then maybe you should give it a little try. My little warning though is that financial domination can be very addictive. So please be careful. I have videos available for people who are who are wanting to get into financial domination as a submissive. And then I also have some paid video courses for anyone who's interested in becoming a financial dominatrix. I definitely suggest that you do your research and educate yourself. It's definitely very helpful to buy a guide so you don't have to spend hours and hours doing all the research on your own. It's always a good idea to practice BDSM and especially financial domination as ethically as possible, and to stay within BDSM principles. I suggest you look up SSC, RACK, and PRIC are the main BDSM principles that are recognized in this type of dynamic. And it's really important to go over limits and boundaries with your submissive and to find out what those are and to respect boundaries and limits, especially when you're going into things like humiliation and blackmail and that type of stuff. Financial dominatrixes usually have multiple payment platforms, so they're accepting money and draining their financial submissives, also known as pay pigs, also known as cash cows, human ATMs, financial submissives, fin subs. There's so many different terms. I could go on and on and on. Those are just a few. I actually heard about financial domination many years ago, and I thought it was complete BS. I wish I had started doing it then, but I honestly didn't believe the person that told me about it. Sorry, Rachel. But I wish I had gotten into it many years ago because I love it and I think I'm pretty good at it. So I have a very naturally dominant personality. I've owned businesses. If you watch my live streams or watch some of my other videos, you know my background and how I came to be. But for me, this has been a very enjoyable thing. I've been an SW in other aspects, and for me, it's something that I really enjoy. So hopefully this video was helpful for you. If you didn't know what financial domination is, hopefully you have a little bit of an understanding now what it entails. It definitely is a real thing, and there are lots of people that are into this. If this interests you and it's something that you want to get into, I suggest you do your research. Unfortunately, financial domination has become very popularized on social media the past few years, and people are misrepresenting what it is and how to do it correctly. You do have to have an understanding of BDSM if you're trying to get into financial domination. You don't have to, but it's really the right thing to do. It's the responsible and ethical thing to do to learn about this kink before you start trying to do it. There's a lot of kinks out there. You need to know what they are, and you need to understand the dynamic between a dominant and a submissive and your responsibilities as a dominant, and how to follow practices so that you can stay safe and ethical and engage with your subs responsibly. So thank you for watching this video. I have lots of videos available for both financial submissives who are interested in getting into this, as far as what to look for, how to engage safely, how to protect yourself. And then I also have some video courses available for people who are interested in becoming financial dominatrixes. If this is something that interests you, I definitely suggest you check those out. Or there's other women that have guides available too. I definitely suggest getting a guide and learning how to do this properly if it's something that you're interested in getting into. It's not as simple as just throwing up social media profiles and setting up payment platforms and trying to entice men to send you money. You need to really do your research and understand what you're doing. And a lot of people will tell you that this is just quick, easy cash, and it's not. There's a lot more that goes into it, and I do suggest you do your research before you try to get into it. So thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment if you have any questions or if there's something that you really enjoyed about this video. And I also have paid YouTube memberships if that's something you're interested in. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.